Back now to the rush to get home for millions of you that traveled for Thanksgiving. More than 55 million people traveled over the weekend, but their journeys home may have been marred by major flight delays and cancellations. And more are expected this morning. Our Kris Van Cleave is covering this for us from Reagan National Airport. And Kris, it's probably no comfort to travelers to say, hey, it could have been worse. It's been worse before. But put this all in context for us. What challenges are folks facing right now? And how bad has this really been, relatively speaking?
Well, Errol, I think what stands out here is while there were a lot of flight delays yesterday, some of them considerable, particularly if you were flying in and out of New York, D.C. or Chicago, you saw cancellations stay relatively low, fewer than 200 according to FlightAware. And that's very different than what we saw over the summer, where there'd be a weather event and you would see mass cancellations by airlines, in part because manpower issues as well as the weather. That didn't happen here. In fact, as we look at the Thanksgiving weekend, Thanksgiving travel season as a whole, you had days where between three of the nation's biggest carriers, United, Delta, and American, they canceled a total of 4 flights. So the airlines have operated very well, which isn't to say that there weren't headaches yesterday. There certainly were, lengthy delays and missed connections, but that is different than saying that you have tens of thousands of people stranded at airports across the country. That just didn't play out yesterday, but certainly was a day where getting home was a lot harder for folks than getting to Thanksgiving dinner was.
Yeah, and after spending, as you have as well, so many days at airports covering cancellations and talking to frustrated travelers, it's clear something may be shifting. I wonder if it has anything to do with the Department of Transportation and Secretary Buttigieg over the summer coming out with this punishment list for airlines and fees that they're suggesting they should face if there are major cancellations. Talk to us about how airlines are trying to accommodate travelers even if there are delays.
Sure. Now, these were weather delays and weather disruptions, so that falls out of a lot of the criteria where airlines can really be held accountable because, in fairness to the airlines, they don't control the weather. And certainly situations like you had here in Washington where visibility was so limited, you get into a safety issue with landing the aircraft. So this is a circumstance where they had to just basically wait out the weather. The weather cleared more or less as they thought it would. So that was good. Now, what has changed since the summer, certainly, is there has been a lot of pressure put on the airlines by the Department of Transportation, by flyers, by consumer groups, to sort of figure out their staffing shortages and fix it. United Airlines told us last week that over the course of the year, they've hired 15,000 more people, and those are everything from pilots to flight attendants to ramp agents to call center people to try to make the operation run better. And I think we can look at the numbers, and you saw across the spectrum, airlines operate better during this stretch than they did over the summer, while seeing more flyers than they saw over the summer. We were looking at TSA checkpoint numbers at or above 2019 figures. So things were very busy, even though they were operating fewer flights, so that meant you had fuller planes. So it appears that the message got to the airlines, and certainly, when you can't operate your flights, that does come with a cost to your bottom line. So there was a financial incentive, certainly, for the airlines to work this out.
And just in our last few seconds, Kris, what's the guidance for folks who have to travel today and tomorrow? What type of delays or cancellations might they expect?
So airlines expect a very busy day today as folks stretch their Thanksgiving holiday just a little bit further. We saw this airport here very, very busy this morning. Some very long lines at checkpoints, a lot of traffic coming in. But it's a better weather day and many, many fewer delays so far. So hopefully smooth flying for most people today.
All right, Kris Van Cleave covering it all for us. Thank you very much.